So this sucks. I was driving Steppenwolf down the road. Actually, all day I've been driving around and just kind of half-ass tuning it. Anyway, I get going down the road and all of a sudden I hear this god-awful grinding noise and the truck gets extremely loud. So I immediately knew what it was. When we built the exhaust, we left one joint in it, and I wanted to get one of those. Actually, I wanted to put a V-band there. Because I wanted the exhaust to be able to come off in two pieces so that we could actually, take it apart and take the downpipe off separate from the rest of the exhaust. But I didn't have another 3-inch V-band clamp right now, so for the time being, we just had the pipe expanded. You saw that in the exhaust video. And we just put a exhaust clamp on it. Well, I don't know if the exhaust clamp wasn't tight enough or what, but it came apart right there. It ground the bolt down to the point where I can't put it back together with that same clamp. So we've only got one exhaust hanger on it down there. So I'm waiting on Joseph, who is John's son. He's on his way out here. I just got it tuned in on 6 PSI, guys. This thing is running freaking awesome, amazing. And, when this happened, my wife needed garbage bags, and I was like, ooh, I volunteer. So I was on my way to Walmart to get garbage bags, but Joseph's on his way with some wrenches now. We're just gonna take that piece of exhaust loose, take the hanger loose, and throw it in the truck, and I'll deal with it when I get home. Back home, Joseph brought our exhaust back. I do not have a bed floor in Project Steppenwolf, so I just threw it in the back of Joseph's truck after we got it off. And you can see right here, I hope you can see that, where it drug on the ground, it just destroyed that bolt on that clamp. So I picked up a new clamp on my way home, and we're just gonna clamp it back on for now. Now, it might seem like some pretty crappy bad luck, but actually, this kind of worked out for the best, because I was going to have to take this apart anyway to get my downpipe off to wrap it, because I've still not wrapped my downpipe. So save me the trouble, right? What is pretty crappy, though, is when I got home, I found out this wasn't the only pipe that popped off today. Apparently, I've got a piece of ductwork under the house that also came apart. So I've got one of my vents in the kitchen that's not blowing heat. And I guess what it's probably doing is just heating the whole underneath of my house, the whole crawl space. So that kind of sucks, because that means before I worry about this truck, I have to crawl under the house and hook all that back up. Hey, bad luck garage, right? Anyway, none of this is really a big deal. We're going to crawl under the house, get that fixed. Then I'm gonna get my, I'm gonna go ahead and take my downpipe off and get it wrapped, put it back on, put the exhaust system back together, and we'll be on down the road. So I kind of wanted to tell you guys about another issue I was having, in case one of you might run into the same issue. And I actually had this problem before I boosted the truck, so I immediately knew what it was. But while I was trying to tune this thing under boost, I kept getting these lean spikes. As soon as it would go into boost, I mean, it would go dead lean, it would backfire, pop out the exhaust. And because I've already dealt with it, I've been dealing with it the whole time I've had Steppenwolf, I already knew what it was. So here's the deal, guys. When I did my LS swap, I decided to go with a rear mount Blazer fuel tank. And the reason, well, there were several reasons that I decided to go with it. The first reason is I needed a new fuel tank, because I wanted to run a factory setup, tank or pump in the tank. Didn't want to deal with all the noise of an inline fuel pump. So that was reason number one. Now I could have got, just a 87 model saddle tank and fixed that problem. But the second reason I wanted the Blazer fuel tank is because I wanted to put some weight over the rear axle to kind of help with traction. What I did not take into consideration when I did the Blazer tank swap is the fact that the fuel baffles in the 87 Blazer fuel tank were never designed to deal with rapid acceleration. They were designed to deal with a vehicle that ran the quarter mile in like 20 seconds and, didn't experience a whole lot of G's taken off. Hence, they don't deal with a whole lot of fuel slosh. I just kind of wanted to show you guys what I'm talking about and show you guys the issue I'm having. Okay. So here's the Blazer fuel tank. All right. It's just a, kind of a square. And the fuel sending unit is right in the center there. Okay. Now, it has a baffle that's shaped like a rectangle. Okay, it's cold out here. My drawing skills suck. Please forgive me, guys. But anyway, so, my fuel pump pickup is right here. This is the fuel tank. This is the, heading towards the front of the truck. And here's the problem I got. Like, if we look at the fuel tank from the side, say the fuel tank is this deep, and right here is my sending unit. Here's my fuel pump. Here's my pump sock. Anyway, so this is my fuel pump. This is looking at the tank from the side. This is looking at it from the top. Well, here's the issue, guys. The baffle here for the fuel injection that's meant to keep this pump submerged, it's only about this high. Okay? So, I've actually measured it, and like when my fuel pump is sitting, dead at the bottom of the tank, this baffle is only like this high. Okay? So what's going on is, if I've got anything less, than about a half a tank, and I floor this thing, all the fuel, as soon as it comes into boost and it starts pulling really freaking hard, if the fuel level is like down here, say around a quarter tank or whatever, as soon as I start taking off, all the fuel, I think what's happening is it's sloshing over this rear baffle here, and I'm starting to suck air. So I get that huge lean spike, and then, of course, when I get the lean spike, the vehicle lurches forward, and I get a huge backfire that doesn't make me feel very good. And when it lurches forward, then for a second, all this fuel dumps back in here. The fuel pump starts picking up fuel again, and the truck takes off like a bat out of hell again until it starts pulling really hard again. The fuel sloshes back up, and it's just, so it's like, wow, pop, pop, whoa, pop, pop. That's what's going on, guys. And I've confirmed this because I had this problem even before I went to boost, when it was pulling really hard. Even naturally aspirated, when I would accelerate really hard in first gear, this would always happen. That's how I knew what it was when I was tuning the other day. Right as it started coming into boost and sucking me back in the seat, it started popping and backfiring, and I'm like, oh, okay, I must be below a half a tank of fuel. And I confirmed this because I went to the gas station, put $20 in it. Damn thing pulled like a raped ape. I mean, it was maintaining, 11.4 AFRs at 6 pounds of boost, which is, where I've got my table set for my boost enrichment. So anyway, that's what to look out for if you've got a Blazer tank. Now, I am trying to figure out a way to remedy this. I'm thinking about just getting another Blazer tank since this one's already full of fuel. I don't really want John to have to try to weld, with gas fumes in or whatnot. But what I'm thinking about doing is getting another Blazer tank, cutting the top off of it, and going in here and maybe having John weld, like make a baffle that comes up a lot higher, like this, and like from the front, like have a baffle that goes almost all the way to the top of the tank, but only on the back side of the baffle, so it would be like this part of the baffle, the rear side, would, you know, be about 6 inches taller, and hopefully that would keep the fuel from sloshing over under heavy acceleration. It's my idea. If you guys have another idea, I'd really like to hear it. You know, post it in the comment section down there, and you know, I'm open to suggestions at this point, because this is something that I've been dealing with ever since I got my swap finished, and it's getting really annoying. And just in case, you know, some of you might be thinking, well, why don't you just watch your fuel gauge? Yeah, I've got the Intellitronics gauges in the truck still, and the fuel gauge was the latest gauge that decided to take a crap. So I have no way of knowing how much gas is in the truck until it starts doing this crap. I'm probably going to buy a cheap fuel gauge and stick in that triple gauge pod that I have my wideband and my boost gauge in, just as a temporary solution. But yeah, guys, the joys of Intellitronics gauges. Anyway, I've got to crawl under this house, so I'm going to get that done, and then we'll get on the truck. I've been alive for over 40 years, guys. In that period of time, I have used duct tape for all kinds of crazy crap. This is the first time I've ever actually used duct tape on ductwork. Turns out it works really good for that. Imagine that. Now that we got that done, I can turn my focus back to the downpipe. So we got our downpipe back off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to use what header wrap I have left to wrap it. Now, from about, I'd say about here down, you know, this is the back of the engine right here. So hopefully I have enough header wrap left just to go from, you know, from our turbo to about right here, because that's all I care about. I'm just gonna, you know, I'm just trying to keep the heat out of the engine bay. Beyond that, I mean, what's under the car I don't care about. After all, this is, you know, this whole exhaust system right here is just a temporary fix. Eventually, what I want to do is I want to redo the downpipe with 4-inch stainless, and maybe possibly under the vehicle split it into 2.5-inch pipes running through a set of MagnaFlow stainless mufflers and out the sides, you know, to quiet it down even further. So we put up our Christmas tree the other night, which works out really good for me, because we had to bring one of the tables, one of the end tables out here to the garage. We didn't have room for it. So that's awesome. Now I have a work surface, you know, because everything else in the garage is a complete, you know what, wreck. So you'll notice I'm wearing gloves. In my video where we wrap the headers, you know, I told you guys when you're working with this header wrap, there's a lot of little fiberglass particles that come out of it. So you definitely want to wear some kind of gloves when you're working with it, because that stuff will get embedded in your skin, especially if you've got little soft bitch hands. There it is. I'm thinking I should have went ahead and used the rest of that wrap and carried it a few more inches down. I actually stopped right in front of the last spark plug wire, but if you look through here, I mean, there's a good probably 3 inches gap between that spark plug wire and the downpipe, so I think we're good. All right, guys, well, that about does it. We got our downpipe wrapped and back on. All I have left to do is crawl under there, slip the other part of the exhaust on, and put the, you know, the bolt in for the hanger. You guys have already seen that in the video where we made the exhaust, so you know, there's no point in boring you with any of that. I did want to tell you this weekend we're putting the Dynamat in the 54 Chevy. So, you know, keep a lookout for that video. Hoping to have that up Sunday night or Monday morning. I'm also going to be working on trying to get the grill put in the truck. So that'll be in an upcoming video as well. So keep on the lookout for future videos. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click the subscribe button now. That way you'll get a notification when a new video comes out. If you're already a subscriber, as always, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I hope I'm putting out some content that you want to see. If not, there's a comment box down there at the bottom. And one more thing, if you like the video, hit the like button, guys. I'll see you guys next time on Bad Luck Garage.